Hey everybody, I'm Paulie G. Welcome back to the Paulie G Show, coming to you live from high atop Mount Georgia. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. So glad to be here with you today. And happy Labor Day 2023 weekend. So man, where did the summer go? It went by so fast it seems. But it was a nice summer here, weather-wise. I know some of my friends down south and out west are pretty baked out, and I'm sure they're looking forward to a little bit cooler weather in the fall. So let's hope for that and let everybody cool off a little bit. But we're here today to put another one in the win column for Guild. And today we have the D20 all mahogany dreadnought. And this is some guitar, let me tell you. I mean, rarely have I ever been more pleased with a purchase of a guitar than I have with this. It just continues to amaze me in how it plays and how it sounds. It's got all the tools, for me. So I'm just thrilled with it. And, I've talked a lot about guilds and demoed. This is now, I think, the fifth guild that I own, which is, I didn't really plan on that, but I've been a big proponent of the brand name, and I think they're very underrated as compared to, the big three, Martin, Taylor, and Gibson. I really don't think they get their due, and I think, it's almost like they're like a borderline boutique brand in a way, because the volume is so low that they've put out over the years, and I think that maybe has a lot to do with why most people aren't that familiar with them. But they make a small fraction of the guitars that Gibson and Taylor and Martin put out. So and they've had, let's say some fits and starts throughout their span since they started in the late 50s. They had some great runs, in Westerly, Rhode Island. And the New Hartford, Connecticut was a great run because Ren Ferguson was up there. But when Fender owned them, they did some things that weren't all that great. They, at a certain point, moved them out to Tacoma, Washington, to marry it up with the Tacoma Guitar Factory. And, that was, I would say, arguably maybe the worst era of Guild. There were some quality issues, definitely, with some of those guitars. But overall, they've put out some fantastic stuff, and now they are back in Oxnard, California. Ren Ferguson went out there and got things up and running, and they're now back in production. I know Ren's not there anymore, but he spent a few years there getting the factory up and running, and this is one of the models that he reintroduced. So this one started in 1968. It only ran for a few years, and then they took it off their line. But Ren reintroduced it and gave it a refresh. He redesigned some of the bracing and some of the other features. So this is another Ren Ferguson special as far as I'm concerned. He's probably got his fingerprints all over this one, which is kind of nice to know. But the specs are, okay, solid mahogany top, solid mahogany back and sides, mahogany neck. It's pretty much all mahogany, except we've got a rosewood bridge, rosewood fretboard, bone saddle, bone nut. The pins are plastic, but not for long. I'm going to swap those out for some bone pins because this is quite worthy of an upgrade. But, it's a modestly appointed guitar in terms of, the bling bling, which is fine. I mean, this guitar is all about go. It's not about show. And that's what I love about it. It's just a guitar that's just made to play. And that's Guild's logo, right? Made to play. This is definitely a made to play guitar. So it's not there to wow you with its looks. It's there to wow you with its sound. It comes in a couple of different finishes. This is the Antique Burst, which I like on the mahogany because the mahogany can kind of look a little bit plain without a little bit of something on it. But they also make just a regular natural finish version of this as well. They also make a smaller version called the M20, which is more of a concert body, smaller size version if you want to smaller guitar. This is a big dreadnought, as dreadnoughts go. It's very deep body, much deeper than most other dreadnoughts. So it's it's a big guitar, and it sounds like a big guitar. Tons of tone, tons of bass, but it's got it. It's got it all. It's bright up top. So it's really something. I'm really thrilled with it. Now, I've been wanting an all mahogany guitar for quite a while. Mahogany top. I've played a bunch of them that friends have had, and it was almost always a Martin. That's the Martin D15 is far and away the most popular all mahogany acoustic. It outsells this probably, just a guess, a factor of 100 to 1. But it's not a better guitar, in my opinion. I think this is actually a better guitar. The ones that they're making now in the Cordoba factory out in California, I think they started these in 2018 was when they launched this model. Maybe a little earlier, maybe 2016. That's when the factory officially opened. But in my opinion, this is a better guitar than the Martin is. Now, I think another factor in why it sounds so great is the finish, or should I say the lack thereof. So there's no poly, there's no nitro. It has what they call a satin instrument varnish, which is the thinnest finish you could possibly put on a piece of wood, for a guitar or an instrument. And I think that really shows in how it just vibrates for days when you play this thing. And that's one of the things that I love about it. And I don't care. It's not a durable finish, but who cares? It's already a little banged up. And the interesting thing about these satin finish guitars, not just this one, but I think most satin finishes, is that the more your arm rubs on them and the more you scratch or whatever, those areas tend to get shiny, as opposed to a gloss finish where it tends to get dull in those areas. So you'll start to see, I'm already seeing some wear patterns where it's actually glossing up a little bit. But I don't really care. I don't care how this guitar looks all that much. I just love the way it sounds and plays. I did add one little ornament to it on the truss rod cover. I'll show you a close-up picture. There's a shop on eBay. He calls himself Wile E. Coyote. He's up in Canada, and he's done a bunch of custom truss rod covers for me. He's really, really talented, and I'll put a link to his eBay store in the description below. If you ever want a custom truss rod cover made of mother of pearl or abalone for a Gibson or a Taylor or a Guild, go on his channel. He's got a wide selection. If you don't see what you want, just message him, and chances are he'll be able to make for you whatever you want. And they're not terribly expensive. So if you want a custom truss rod cover for whatever guitar you have, acoustic or electric, check out his eBay store. It's really pretty cool. I've bought a bunch of stuff from him, and I've loved them all. So I'll show you a close-up of this right here, in fact, so you can take a look at it. So yeah, otherwise, it's a very understated, in terms of appointments, but who cares? This one's all about the go, not the show. So I'm thrilled with this one, and again, another I can't say enough good things about Guild. I highly recommend, if you're ever thinking about a Guild, whether it's an imported version. They do an imported version of this one as well. It's called the D120. Pretty similar specs, all mahogany top, mahogany back and sides. However, it does have a polyurethane finish on it, so it's a little brighter. Maybe not as bassy as this. More affordable, certainly, but even these, brand new, are well under $2,000. So they're not crazy expensive guitars when you consider what you're going to pay for a Martin or a Gibson or a Taylor. That's even close to being this good. So they're a great deal, but there are a few used ones around. You could probably get one even cheaper, and maybe that's the way to go, because again, if it's a little banged up, so what? It's going to get that way anyway. Who cares? So that's it. I just wanted to share this one with you, and I want to thank you as always for tuning in. I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you very soon. And until next time, this is Paulie G reminding you that when it comes to guitars, you only need one. More. See you next time.